They say the road to hell is paved with good intentions, but sometimes it's just paved with solar panels and HOA rules written in crayon. I'll never forget the sound that started it all. A clean, sickening crack of tempered glass splitting beneath a rake. Not a storm, not a fallen branch, a rake. Held by a woman standing barefoot on a lawn chair, hollering about unauthorized sun harvesting like she was defending the neighborhood from an alien invasion. That woman was Carla Denton, vice chair of our local HOA, part-time yoga instructor, full-time menace with a god complex. It was a Thursday. I was halfway through a Zoom call with the sheriff's deputy, talking power flow metrics for the tactical command post they'd hidden 3 miles deep in the woods behind our community, when suddenly everything dropped. My monitors blinked, the graphs froze, and the encrypted feed cut to black. I thought it was a fuse at first, but then came the second crack, then a third. I sprinted outside, and what do I see? Carla, swinging a rake like she was reaping souls off my roof. "You're stealing daylight, Trevor," she screamed at me, like I had the sun on payroll. These panels weren't HOA approved. Now, to be fair, she wasn't wrong about the lack of HOA approval. But that was because these weren't ordinary residential panels. They were military-grade, heat-dispersing, high-efficiency nodes connected directly to a state-funded backup grid-silent emergency energy relay powering the sheriff's mobile unit during high-risk operations. I had the paperwork. I had the permits. And I had a confidentiality clause that told me not to tell anyone. So I didn't. Which made me, in Carla's eyes, a solar saboteur. She started with notes. Passive-aggressive ones duct-taped to my door in glittery ink that read things like "aesthetics matter" and "respect the uniformity of sun exposure." Then came the driveway meetings, where she tried to rally neighbors to boycott my house. The thing is, no one showed. Not because they liked men Hofson did, but because Carla had pulled this stunt before. The woman once filed a complaint because someone's Christmas lights had too many blinking patterns. But this time, it was different. Because when she destroyed those panels, she didn't just mess with me. She knocked out power to the sheriff's active surveillance command in the middle of a manhunt for a fugitive armed suspect. What Carla didn't know was that at that exact moment, a tactical drone lost connection and 2 officers lost eyes on a suspect. It wasn't just neighborhood drama anymore. It was obstruction. And the best part? It was all caught on camera. Mine. So while Carla stood there huffing, red-faced, wiping imaginary sweat from her forehead like she'd just completed some holy mission, I got a buzz on my phone. Emergency power failure at Command Post Delta. 10 minutes later, black SUVs with federal plates rolled into the cul-de-sac. Carla, now sipping lemonade like she hadn't just committed a federal offense, blinked in confusion as Sheriff Ramirez himself stepped out of the lead vehicle. "Ma'am," he said calmly, hands at his hips. "Are you aware you just disabled a tactical energy node under state protection?" She blinked. I broke some ugly panels. They were blinding my dog. Ramirez didn't even blink. He signaled to a deputy, who handed her a folder photos, timestamps, and signed federal authorization letters. Carla's face drained like a power grid during a blackout. Now here's where it gets cinematic. While she stood there stunned, her golf cart, which she had so lovingly parked right in front of my barn doors, was acting like a dam, blocking my bull, Brutus, from his morning pasture run. Brutus is 1,600 pounds of horned muscle and has the patience of a hungover badger. So I opened the barn. The moment the cart came into his view, something in that big skull of his clicked. He stared. He snorted. And then he charged. Carla screamed. She tried turning the key. The cart wheezed. Nothing. She scrambled out barefoot, dropped her phone, tripped over her own yoga pants, and dove behind a tree like a cartoon villain. Brutus didn't gore the cart. No. He annihilated it. Slammed it with his head, flipped it on its side, flattened the drink holder, and sprayed iced tea all over her folding chair like some kind of bovine exorcism. Carla popped her head out, hair frazzled, one crock missing, shouting, "He attacked me. That beast attacked me." I stepped out slowly, still in my house slippers, trying not to laugh. "Barn doors were blocked," I said. "Had to let him out. You saw the signs. You did this on purpose. I'll have you reported for deliberate endangerment and property destruction." "Actually," I said, pulling out my phone, "you'll be paying me. For trespassing. For interference. For about 7 other things I'll let the sheriff list out." That night, the HOA board came by. Khakis, clipboards, the whole parade. Claimed I was endangering the community. I showed them the footage. not just of Carla swinging that rake like she was chasing Dracula, but of her blocking the barn, ignoring warning signs, and yelling into her phone about how she'd show the solar freak who's in charge. One board member muttered, "Oh hell." Another said, "This is bad." They left without saying more. The next day, Sheriff Ramirez returned. Not with handcuff, with a USB drive and a request. He asked to see my full setup. I led him to the back workshop, behind a hidden panel where the core system was housed. Cooled servers, energy converters, backup batteries. The works. I'd built it over 5 years. Ramirez stood there, quiet, taking it all in. When I played the camera footage synced with the power drop logs, he just nodded and said, "She picked the wrong fight." Turns out, Carla wasn't new to this. The sheriff's team pulled up her history. In her last HOA, she tried to unplug a neighbor's oxygen machine, claiming it drew illegal wattage. The one before that, she attempted to ban Halloween decorations. She moved HOAs like sharks circle boats slow, obsessive, always waiting to strike. By week's end, a court hearing was scheduled. The prosecutor showed the panel destruction video, the drone footage, and emails where the HOA vice president literally wrote, "Let Carla handle it. She's dealt with these types before." These types, huh? You mean homeowners who volunteer their roofs for emergency infrastructure during wildfire season? Who help neighbors hook up backup generators? That's who she was after. The judge, jaw clenched, offered Carla a settlement, public apology, full restitution, resignation from the HOA board, and a permanent ban from ever serving in any enforcement position again, or face felony charges. She took the deal, barely. The apology? Typed. Pinned to the community bulletin board like a garage sale flyer. But worse than that, the sheriff made her post a sign on her lawn for 30 days. "I damaged critical infrastructure and endangered public safety. I deeply regret my actions." You couldn't drive by without seeing it. Kids took selfies with it. One neighbor offered to frame it. By month's end, the HOA board had resigned in waves. People stopped whispering about HOA rules and started talking about potlucks. I got invited to barbecues. One neighbor brought muffins just to thank me for standing up to her. Then came the letter from the State Department of Emergency Services. They wanted to hire me as a consultant to help expand the Rural Solar Relay program. I accepted. Carla hasn't been seen in weeks. Her blinds are drawn. Her cart, or what's left of it, got towed. And Brutus? He's got a new pasture fence and a little more pep in his step these days. Like he knows he did something important. And maybe he did. Because this wasn't just about solar panels. It was about control. About people like Carla who mistake authority for purpose. And how that illusion shatters the moment real responsibility shows up with a badge, a folder, and a bull named Brutus who doesn't tolerate petty tyranny. So let me ask you this: have you ever dealt with a Carla in your neighborhood? Someone who took things too far? Who crossed the line thinking no one would push back? Tell me in the comments. Let's talk about it. Because sometimes justice doesn't come with a gavel. Sometimes it comes with horns, hooves, and a solar-powered backup feed that never forgets.